Hello everyone. So today I'll be demonstrating our project Felix. So Felix is an on-call incident response agent whose entire value comes from memory. When an alert fires at 3 a.m., a good engineer doesn't start from zero. They remember the last time this happened, the doc that explains it, the change that caused it. Felix does all that but instantly, and it gets smarter every time. It's built on CockroachDB using the native vector type and the cloud-managed MCP server. It also uses many of the features provided by CockroachDB natively, and its reasoning model is on AWS. Let me show you how Felix proves useful for any developer. So I onboarded a checkout service project onto Felix, and as you can see, these two are demo questions which people can use to understand Felix better. So this is a very classic incident or classic issue that developers generally face. So here the checkout service is failing, and the DB pool basically exhausted during the spike. So I'll click on diagnose to ask Felix what the issue is. It looks like a database capacity problem, but look what Felix is doing. It is sniffing through its memory, past incidents, docs, recent code changes, and the code graph all at once. If you look at the right, everything on the right is recalled by meaning, not keywords. That's CockroachDB's native vector type with a vector index doing semantic search across incidents, docs, and changes. So you can see there are a lot of panels here: upstream call trace, the runbooks recalled, which basically have steps about how to solve a particular issue. They have similar past incidents and also the relevant docs. But let's check out the upstream call trace. So if you look at upstream call trace, Felix traced the code graph upward from where the symptoms are faced using a recursive query in CockroachDB and found out the real cause. Checkout handler.process. So even if you look at the diagnosis which Felix has given us, it is not just a raw diagnosis. It is based on evidence. So if you see here, it has some citations, and when I hover over it, it tells me on what evidence Felix has given this answer. Also, how does Felix compound over the time? A live diagnosis is stored without an embedding. So an unreviewed guess can never pollute future recall. But when a human gives it a thumbs up, Felix embeds it and promotes it into a recallable memory. Also, this is not a one-shot thing. This is a conversation. And Felix holds the incident in working memory. So I can ask a follow-up. So as you can see, I asked a question on how to update the db.pool.exhaust, and Felix gave me an concrete answer along with citation. So let's say I search connections failing. Notice that I didn't type any exact keyword. I just described the symptom in plain English, and CockroachDB's vector search ranks the closest matches by meaning. Each bar is an actual vector distance. Moving on, we move on to the next panel, which is live monitoring. Felix watches services in real time. These cards stream live off a CockroachDB change feed, which is CockroachDB's native feature built into it, which is also called as CockroachDB CDC feature, and it is built on the metrics table. A time probe on each service writes one sample per call, and any new service shows up here automatically. Look at this one. The P99 is spiking past a second, but the average is still green weekend. Even if you see at the home page, we are also showing these alerts so that the developer gets easy access to what is happening. Moving on, let's move to the next panel, which is DB overview. This whole page is powered by the CockroachDB cloud-managed MCP server. Felix acting as its own MCP call. We have also provided an option for Felix to change the database. So let's say I add something here like, and I say to plan it. Felix plans on how it can create, or it can follow this command and create a table called test sample. So I've gotten a particular command, so I just run it. If you see here, Felix is again querying the cluster over the MCP, and if you see here, we have the table that we had requested, which is test sample. In this panel, we have added a real interactive terminal, which is wired directly to the Cockroach Cloud CLI, which is C Cloud CLI. It is running against a live cloud account. It is handy for the operator who wants to drop the command line without leaving Felix. Let me show you some commands that I can run through it. So if I say C Cloud, I am able to look into all the clusters that I have found. Everything so far was one demo service, but Felix is multi-project. I pointed at any code base or any local path or git URL, and it builds that project memory from scratch. So as you can see, Felix has onboarded the project, and we can even switch to that particular project. And we can go back to other projects using this particular tab. Our goal with Project Felix was to show that memory is what makes an agent useful, not the model. Thank you for watching.